Good morning, good day, and good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all races, ages, genders, sexual orientations, religions, etc. Being stationed in Germany has been a blessing. I met people I never thought I would. I learned a little bit of the language, ate some of the best meals, and even traveled to neighboring countries. Trust me, if you can afford to, come to Germany. It's well worth the hard-earned paycheck to visit. With my fascination of the country came my quest of knowledge on some urban legends. As I was scrolling through various pages, I came across one that caught my attention. This urban legend caught my attention based on one thing. I love dogs. As a matter of fact, I'll go even further. I love anything that is related to the canine gene pool, as long as they're not trying to disembowel me.
That's all well and good, but what does that have to do with the topic of discussion?
You may demand. My response to your question is,
Know your role and shut your mouth!
In all seriousness, the topic of discussion is a first on this channel, as it is one that is covered outside my home country of the United States. It is a creature that dates back to the 19th century in the current German state of Rhineland-Pfalz. I'm talking, of course, about the Morbach Monster. One may ask, so a werewolf story. How is it different from the ones we've already heard? Well, the year 1812 was a year of chaos across the world. The United States and her allies were waging war against the United Kingdom. Simultaneously, Germany, or more accurately, its name during the time, Prussia, was also engaged in conflict during the Napoleonic Wars. In the midst of blood and disarray stood a French soldier by the name of Thomas Johannes Baptiste Schweitzer. Despite being a seasoned soldier who followed the haphazard plan of attack by Napoleon Bonaparte during the invasion of Russia, Schweitzer would notice himself in the middle of a losing battle in the nearly decade-long war. Having enough of the war, Schweitzer would gather together a group of men who also shared their distaste of the war and deserted their unit. They would also be accompanied by a group of Russian turncoats. They would make their way west towards Schweitzer's home located in Alsace, France. Their long journey will come to a halt in the countryside near the town of Wittlich. The men will find themselves in need of nourishment, so they settled for a secluded farmhouse. They decided to raid the farm for supplies and food, but they were discovered by a farmer and his sons. Shocked and angered by the men discovering the intruders, Schweitzer would brutally murder the farmer and his sons. Unknown to them, the wife of the farmer was also present. She is said to have witnessed the cruel and violent nature of her loved ones being executed. She is said to have cursed Schweitzer by saying, "From now on, at each full moon, you will change into a rabid wolf." Thinking nothing of her choice of words, Schweitzer would crush her skull, ending the lives of an entire family over the greed of a few men. Little did he know, his life would take a turn for the worse. The woman's cursed words came true as Schweitzer transformed into his monstrous form. With this change, he would increase his level of savagery, becoming more bloodlust and prone to violence. Almost immediately after discovering his cursed side, Schweitzer would go on a rampage of criminal acts to include murder, rape, and even cannibalism. Schweitzer's notoriety would begin to spread into Rhineland. Eyewitnesses made note of a wolf-like creature that appeared during the full moon, the evisceration of livestock, showing fang and claw marks, and even the mutilated corpses of men and women discovered in the early morning. One such account of a woman surviving an encounter with the beast came from a woman named Elizabeth Birrell. She was known in the town as a farmer's daughter, possessing attributes of great beauty and kindness. One evening, when she was walking home through the woods, she would encounter the creature, noticing its twisted mixture of man and beast. It would force itself upon Birrell, making her afraid and pleading for her life. The creature would leave, but not without leaving its mark. The broken and bloodied woman would discover that during the assault, the creature left its seed inside her. She would unfortunately be only one of a multitude of women the creature committed this act to. The creature instilled fear and caution throughout the town. This would not stop a group of villagers from protecting their community. They decided to band together to hunt and put an end to the beast's reign of terror. They would search far and wide for the creature until they discovered its lair in the forest near the village of Morbach. The beast would emerge from its lair and a fierce battle would ensue. The villagers would eventually emerge victorious, ending the life of the beast and the man once known as Thomas Schweitzer. With the victory came a measure of extra caution. Fearing the beast would survive and come back to life, the villagers buried the corpse at a desolate crossroads and drove a stake through its heart. This may seem excessive enough, but not to them. A final measure of assurance came when they decided to decapitate the body. They would leave a shrine over the grave of a stone monument with the image of the Virgin Mary. A final piece of the grave was an eternal flame in the hope that the power of Mary would be enough to keep it from returning. It is said that if the flame was not lit during a full moon, the creature would return. Generations of men and women would visit the site of the creature, not only to tell tales of the horrendous acts, but to ensure the flame was still lit. The creature will remain unseen and unheard of for the next century and a half. That was until 1988. A group of American airmen stationed at the Han airbase near Morbach were off duty and having the time of their lives when they decided to have an interesting night. They found themselves passing by the werewolf shrine on the outskirts of town. Upon approaching the shrine, they noticed something off. The eternal flame, that was supposed to be eternal, was mysteriously extinguished. Having knowledge of the legend, they decided to mock the creature, sharing joking remarks about the creature and even daring each other to approach the shrine. They would leave the shrine without relighting the flame. Little did they know, they made a grave mistake. Later that night, the base would get a warning of a disturbance in their perimeter, and a security detail was sent to investigate. When they arrived at the area, they saw the sight of 3 mutilated corpses of deer, having been disemboweled and partially eaten. The bodies appeared fresh, as if something was just there feasting on the bodies before it escaped into the night. The patrol team then prepared to return to base before hearing a large animal growling in the bushes. One of them went over to investigate before the animal leapt from the bushes towards the patrol. They fled the scene in a panic. Minutes later, the patrol returned to base, but the creature wasn't done with them. The creature would rush through the base, moving swiftly, almost as if it was a blur. It was chased throughout the base for several minutes before jumping over a 9-foot security fence and escaping into the night. Patrol dogs attempted to follow the creature's path, but even they refused to follow the scent. It is also said that another patrol team attempted to pursue the beast. During the search, an airman got lost from his team of reinforcements. He happened to have seen the creature as it crept over the ravaged body of one of its victims. Blinded by panic, the airman emptied his weapon into the beast, sending it back into the shadows. Reinforcements caught up with the airmen, though they found no signs of the creature except for a trail of blood that led off into the forest. Upon further investigation of the area, they discovered something more grisly. They discovered a German soldier twisted and brutalized beyond comprehension. The only way they were able to even identify the soldier was by the Luftwaffe uniform. The disturbing nature of the incident at the Han airbase was one many would never forget. Word got out that the base was attacked, and the once quiet town of Morbach was once again put in fear of the horror of the monster that haunted them nearly 2 centuries ago. The incident at the base was officially concluded to be a wild animal attack in an attempt to contain the panic of the town. The witnesses of the incident knew better than the official story. Soon after the incident, the shrine was relit, and the creature has never been heard from since then. Thank you for watching this video. I gotta say, this was an interesting topic to discuss before Halloween. Stories of werewolves have always been of the creepy variety, especially in ancient European culture. This one in particular was one that I had no idea what to expect. Normally it's just a story of an ordinary man who's bitten by a werewolf and is cursed with a forced ability to change into a werewolf every full moon. This one was different. What started out as a French soldier turned into a story of murder, and even further turned into a story of a deranged psychopath. Even though, as of the recording of this video, I'm nowhere close to the area where the legend takes place, it's still a bit shocking that I'm only a few hours away from it. Whether or not the story is true is something I will not be investigating myself. I will leave that to the more curious minds. Y'all let me know what y'all find out. But until then, I thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. Make good decisions. And have a wonderful rest of your day.